Okay, we should be back. So as people come in, I am actually going to I think I can tag you now. Oh well, I guess the first thing I want to do is share back. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. We had to do a part two. And so if you're watching, you got to go watch part one. I'm going to try to restate a little bit of what I was saying, and then we'll go on. Let's give a minute to folks who are coming back in the room. All right, looks like they are coming back in. Looks like 10 people are here. So this is just straight on Be Live. I'm going to share this back on my page so people have the current link. Sorry, folks, you're going to have to reshare again. This is part two. So let me finish on my point. So there are 14 people here. That's half of what was here. So I think that the older I get, the more I'm interested in a woman's mind, right? Like there's a shift, and it's no more I'm looking for someone to take to the horse show, look pretty, go to the beach, and we can look pretty together, whatever. My interest is someone I can have a conversation with, right? Somebody who, but it's not just that. It's also the physique is different, right? The physique I even look for is different. I'm not even looking for, the this is weird for me. Y'all got to give me a minute here.
Okay, let me support you through this.
You talk about this a lot on your channel. Yes. I don't. This is still a save the world topic, and it's the breaking down the gender issues. Yes. So I'm gonna let you go. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. So I will support you. I will make like a interview style. Okay. To make it easier, so that would be a bridge. So Gerard, when you were younger, in your teens and 20s, what was the most attractive? What did you find the most attractive in a woman?
In my teens and when I was 20.
Mm-hmm. Teens and 20s.
Ooh, okay, hold on. Are the kids to bed? My sons, if y'all are watching this, go to bed. Turn it off right now. Don't watch it.
Your son is in his teens and 20s, don't worry.
In my teens, so all right, then I'm in my teens and my 20s. I have to say my teens, because in my 20s I was married, and I'm not gonna say anything against their mama. I say something against their mama still she'll come after me. So no, I'm not gonna say nothing. In my 20s, I was looking for nothing. I had everything I needed. But in my teens, let me see, what did I like? I liked a big butt and a smile. I think I like, well, yeah, but then that was on Wednesday, because then Tuesday I liked a thin butt and physique and a vixen. And then so I was all over the place. To be honest with you, there's something sick about a man to where you want what you didn't have. Like if you had something for a little while, guys, tell me if I'm wrong or not. If you've had this for a while, you're interested in something different. And then you get something different. And then after 20 years, not 20 days, but 20 years, then you want something different. So there's something about difference that's attractive to men.
Yeah, they actually made a study, and I think they asked about 2,000 or more men, who is the most beautiful woman on the planet? And they said, I don't know, Pamela Anderson, Jessica Alba, whoever. And they asked them, would you rather have a calendar, 12 months of different pictures of that woman, the most beautiful woman on the planet, right, or 12 months and on each picture, few average looking women? They all said few average looking women. Not all, like a 95%, because it's variety.
Well, yeah, there's variety, but there's something else too. There's some psychological things there too. So, man, we're gonna tell all the secrets tonight. This gonna be a secret night. We're gonna tell the secret. So with men, or with me, I'll say it this way. I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't know how to say it. I'll just have to say it. Pretty women are trouble. Pretty women are trouble, double trouble. And you know what? I used to have something. I don't think I've said this in a while. I have something called the ugly duckling theory. Right? I think that when you were young, I don't think I was I think I had issues when I was young. I was a little chubby and all kind of things. I had some challenges I had to deal with. But I think as I got older, I think I looked better. I think that I kind of fit in my face. I don't think my face fit till I was a man, and my face kind of fits a little better. But I think that if you grow up and you're not what's generally considered to be attractive, you have to adapt to that, right? Like you want friends, you want to play with the pit bull, you want to play with the dog without hanging a pork chop around your neck. And so I was forced to have a good I was forced to be funny. I was forced to have a good personality because to have friends, I had to be a nice person. I had to share my toys. I had to, invite people to the house and have parties, stuff like that. But the attractive guys, the guys with the light skin and the green eyes and all that stuff, they could be just total jerks and it wouldn't matter. They get all the girls on the planet. Right. So it's my ugly duck theory. I think if you're growing up and you're not the most attractive person, you have to develop a good personality. And I think that guys, there's something that encodes to a point where when you look at a pretty woman, you're kind of like, oh Lord. But it's just kind of like she's not going to have a good personality. And it's not true. It's not true at all. But it sometimes is true. And so I think you want somebody who you're attracted to, but also they're not going to drive you to jump off a building. And I don't know if it works the same way in reverse for women when they look for a guy. You don't want, but then there's also the guys who look for the easy target, right? They look for somebody with low self-esteem. So there also is that. But I think in that study, I think what that probably is about um, is men are looking for someone who looks good, somebody that might be in their lane that they don't have to struggle to keep, and someone who has a good personality that they can kind of get along with.
These
You
are
see what I'm
just
saying?
pictures. These are just pictures. Just photographs of different women, not as beautiful, or photograph of one woman always through the year. Variety. Because again, you guys have 300 million and little sperms, right? Each one wants their unique egg, but only one can win,
And it gets less the older we get.
of course.
So
And
it's
it gets
decreasing,
like the more time passes
it's
by.
decreasing by the minute. So guys, y'all probably got 22 less than what this broadcast.
At
We age
least.
too.
No, now
We
it's
age
actually
too.
average about 150 million. And then half of them are kind of useless. Yeah, but the point is, we are wired, we are still more the human animal than some kind of enlightened human. We are still driven by that. We are fighting our own sperms, your own sperms are fighting for one egg. There is still that something in it. You need variety. The
Are they
more egg,
fighting?
well, one will win and the rest will die.
Well, they don't have like fists. They're not like fighting. They swim faster, right? Like it's
Swimming.
a race. It's not
It's a
fighting. It's just
race.
a race, right?
Bravo. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's a race. So one will win, right? So there is that something in it. But if you have two or three eggs, they will multiple will win. So variety of women and also variety of, oh, I can play, like you said. You like on Monday and Tuesday you like a big butt, on Wednesday and Thursday you like a small butt, short hair, long hair, nice smile, icy face, whatever. Something is magical. Like this is what I think women are. Okay, hold on. This is woman. This is us.
Y'all a plant. Y'all a plant with some pretty color. A lot of different dead plants in a vase. That's what y'all are.
These are real flowers.
I'm sorry. All right.
You see, we are flowers. Each
Yes.
one of us is beautiful in her unique way.
Absolutely.
It's so fascinating. It's so amazing how this one can move if you play with it. This one, I mean, everything is so amazing about us. We are flowers. And
Yes.
without man, we are vulnerable.
Really.
Yes.
How so?
You just step on a flower, you pick it and throw it. But you guys, you are like bricks protecting flowers, like stones, like rocks protecting flowers.
Okay.
But without us, without flowers, you guys are boring.
For what?
Boring.
Boring?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, did y'all hear that? She just called us boring. We're boring without women. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I don't know if we're boring. Well,
Well,
okay. So,
okay.
all
So
right. So
the
let's be
meaning
fair.
is
But
this. It's like a variety of women's beauty. That's what men want. I have this rose now, but I have this other flower. I have gerberia. I want them all. That wanting the beauty. Like bees, so many bees go to the flowers. There is certain attraction. There is no bees fly around rocks, but we need them. And when there is that synergy that we support each other, we are
right.
strong and beautiful and vibrant, all of us.
Absolutely. But I'm gonna have to disagree on something here. So let's be
Please.
fair. In full disclosure, Helena is married. She's happily married.
Yes.
Gerard is happily single. So there's some different perspectives here, right? Like you have a perspective, I think, from also
Yes,
from a
but I also
happily
work.
married
I also work
person.
with single people.
Huh?
I work with single people.
Okay. You work with single people.
Yeah,
I
man.
think I think it depends on where you are in life. Like I think where I am in life right now, I'm very happy by myself. I'm very
Yes.
happy.
Yes.
I don't think I'm a boring rock. I don't think I'm a brick
Oh
that just
no.
somebody needs to throw through a window.
No.
I have fun. I spend time by myself. I go to the movies. I go and to be honest with you, like I don't even think about dating. I don't even think about it. I don't do it. I don't even think about it. I'm in a
Hold
weird
on.
place. I
Hold
think
on.
that
Hold on.
can I
Hold on.
finish? Am I allowed to finish?
But I need to tell you this part. We are
Okay, go
just
for it.
here. I don't want you to go on. Tell me
But
something.
I know women who are the same way. They're just pretty flowers in a bouquet, and they don't want no rocks around. They don't like no rocks. They just want to do the flower thing for a little bit.
Can we go back to you?
No, I don't want to talk about me. But you
I
talk
need to
about
talk
me,
about you.
we're gonna talk
Okay,
about
so
you. Cause
hold
I
on.
no
Hold on.
psychoanalyzing me.
No, I am not. We are talking about the subject like we talked yesterday, right? We were
Look,
talking about
Catherine
beauty
agrees.
and the
Catherine says,
propaganda.
you see what Catherine said? She agrees. She says she's dating herself too. And some people dating
That's
Jesus. They don't need, some people dating Muhammad, and some people dating Shiva, and some people just, they don't have to date a rock or some flowers. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's
Okay,
a
hold,
single
hold on.
perspective.
Hold on, Gerard. A question. So one morning, you are doing your show
Okay.
and you put your intro music and few people show up. And
Mm,
you see who shows up? Only male names, not even one woman.
mm.
Would you notice that a woman didn't show up?
I noticed. I would notice because I know my friends. I don't really notice that they're male or female. I think I notice the people I interact with the most. I don't think it's a show that I do. I think we just talk in the morning,
Okay,
but
your talk.
it's it's largely not like gender based. Very rarely do we even talk about genders,
Oh,
which is
I
why I
know.
wanted to
I
talk to
watch your
you.
shows all the time. But the
We
point is
mhm.
this, honey. Look, without a presence of a vibrant woman who feels safe, who feels special, who feels sexy, who feels healthy, who feels comfortable in her skin and in this world, without that vibrancy, you guys would notice that we are missing.
Oh yeah, I
Not just
agree.
as
Yeah,
friends, but
right,
as energy.
right.
You see? And that's why this topic of aging and putting the woman's value between few time limits, right? That's what we want to talk about today. Not about you necessarily, but
I
we
don't
want
want
to
to talk
use
about
you
me
as
at
an
all.
example.
I don't talk about me. You don't never see the person with brown skin blushing. You don't want to see none of that. That's ugly. I don't want to talk about me at all. I want to talk. Let's talk about the age gap right there.
Exactly.
But see, that comes from indoctrination, though. That's
Yes.
because our society it makes men see the value of women for a function. right?
Yeah.
And that's something that's got to be broken down. That's something that has to be destroyed. And but women do the same thing. So their value, it's not all women though, and not all men. But the women who value themselves up till menopause and they think that little wrinkles on their eyes or skin that's changing is such a horrible thing. And as a man, I don't think it is. And in fact, the funny thing is, for the brief time in my life that I was married, the aging was pointless. After a while, that person just becomes a part of you, and you don't even see any of that, right? All you see when you look at this person is you see all the experiences you've had together. You see all of the beauty and all of that. You're focused on where you're going in life and what you're doing. And so I think it's, I don't know, I think it's maybe the magazines y'all read, the TV shows you watch, and maybe you're sitting there with your husband and you're watching TV and woman runs across and he might look at her and be like, oh, okay, she's a pretty lady. He might stare. But the reality is most men don't want that. When they get older and they know that that's a problem. Well, let me say this. I think men, as you mature in your relationship and your love and your bond, they might look and say, hey, that's pretty. Like y'all might look at these guys on TV, Kevin Costner or The Rock or something, like, oh, he looks nice. I don't want that. It just looks nice. And then reality sinks in.
And you see, if you just do, for example, overweight people in the movies are presented as stupid or losers,
Okay.
right? And then if you look at movies from the beginning, woman had not much to say in the movie, or if she does, it's like a bombshell Marilyn Monroe, or some kind of sex kitten, or some kind of Lucy that is kind of dumb and being silly. You
Right.
see, so we have been receiving those messages for generations.
Right.
So how do we change that? Like you said, we gotta change that as a society.
Well, that is a good question. Um, that's a very good question. How do we get out of this? Women's value is visual and man's value is something else. How do we? Because that's really maybe what it is. Maybe it's not like menopause and having babies. Maybe that's how it began, but then it becomes more visual or something. How do we get out of that? Well, I think our biggest problem is television. I think our biggest problem is advertising. I think our biggest problem is we're constantly selling women and products to people, right? Just to be honest, with most of the ads that I see, they're always selling some, and what they do with guys too, but it's more probably with women than anything. They're trying to sell you something. They're trying to get you to buy something. And so they're showing you this woman who every 10 years is getting prettier and prettier and prettier and prettier and faker and CGI and CGI. And I don't know. I think to a degree we do have to take on that advertising perspective. I think if they're selling sex to sell toothpaste, I think we got to stop buying the toothpaste. I think if they're selling sex to get us to buy a car, we got to stop buying the car. I think that if when corporations aren't selling their product, they're selling something that's completely unrelated and they're like destroying our self-worth, because that's really what's happening. They're destroying our self-worth. I think that we, the consumers, I'm always about consumers in the mirror. How do I know people are looking for bigger things to do. I always look at what I have to do. I think if I'm watching television and I see, oh, this is a good example. I was watching television. I saw this ad came up. Beautiful woman. Oh my goodness, just hot in it. What is that thing called? Victoria's Secret chemise. I don't know, y'all. We're lingerie, walking in the lingerie, looking pretty, walking through the room, and you see a guy in the background laying on the bed. Some of y'all seen this commercial, and it's a Viagra commercial, right? And this woman is just the two or three women they show just fine, just way out the league. Just I'd never even approach a woman that fine. I think that if you have to like use a woman to sell your product instead of your product just working, I think that's a product that we shouldn't be buying. I think that's an ad we shouldn't watch. I think you should be offended. I get offended when I go, here's a good example. I go home to the Washington, D.C. area, and you see a McDonald's commercial. And it's always a black person on it because I'm from the Washington, D.C. area. Why? Because they got to put Calvin with a hat and black skin on television because black people are there and they want to buy McDonald's. But you watch McDonald's where I live, you'll never see black people on a McDonald's commercial. Like, I think that when you see that you're obviously being played, you have to stop supporting it somehow. They're definitely using a lot of our probably our wants, our vulnerabilities, this Eddie Bernays propaganda type stuff to sell things. But in that example, you're actually stirring up this concept of race and division, and you're stirring up this. I got to look prettier and prettier and prettier. Now we've got kids getting plastic surgery for it. Like, I think, I don't know. I don't know. I think advertising in the mainstream media is a lot of reason why people have self-esteem issues when they get older in age, and they're so worried about how they look.
But look at this. Have you ever seen a 2-year-old girl who is just flirting like crazy? Or a 3-year-old girl who just wants to wear mama's big high heels and it's playing with a lipstick. It's also innate in us that we want and are attracted to beauty. There is something about harmony of the face, like a flowers, right? There is something in the beauty that we are all drawn to. So we cannot now, if we were to neglect commercials, we are neglecting a part of corporate. But also on the other side, we also want to be ourselves. And we are, as humans, built to be guided towards beauty. Nobody wants to live in a, if you present to a person dirty, ugly sheets and a crappy room versus a beautiful room with nice candles and fresh air and a beautiful sheer curtains and everything looks so clean and fresh, we would all naturally be attracted to that without commercials because the human nature wants that inner harmony because we are beautiful inside. We are perfect. And then they use the part of natural, what is natural for us,
Right.
plus how do I make money out of that and control the people.
But before that, it's like, where does beauty come from? Like, are they telling us what beauty is, though?
It's
Like,
innate. Look at the peacocks. Look at the peacocks. Look at a lion. Lion has to look freaking awesome to get laid, right? Look at all the natural mating rituals for animals.
mhm.
It's in DNA of species production and
Okay.
making things happen, right? I think this is a really, really deep thing. How do you be true to yourself? In your case, I really appreciate what you said yesterday to me. You said, I am really not attracted to the same woman I was back then. And you
No.
said, what did you say? You say, and I said, how many of my clients have a husband replace them for a 20-year younger model? And you said, those are not men, those are boys.
Right. That's someone who's still trapped in that teenage mindset where,
And yes, this is very, very kind of soothing for a woman's ears to hear. However, who's gonna date me? I'm now 60. He's with a 40-year-old, and I'm alone. And I also want to share my beauty and wisdom with somebody, right? I help my clients even in those ages to date. I had a client, I think my oldest female client was 78. And
right.
oh, she was so vibrant. She was wonderful, right? But there is that mind that when I work with clients, the worst we have to fight is if the woman is inside herself indoctrinated into believing that her value is gone because he left her, or the propaganda everywhere. If you just walk on the street, you don't have a TV, you don't watch your phone, nothing. If you just walk from one part of the city to another, let's say an hour or 30 minutes through the main zone, probably you're bombarded every more than every 1 second. And there is no models. There are now coming up models who are there are women who have like how you call it, like a skin that is half white, half black, like a little patchy. And there are women who come with lots of freckles or different models who don't look typical Western look of a model. They're coming up now. But regular average woman, a plain Jane, so to say, who is beautiful and wonderful inside, who, as you said, you want a woman to talk to, who has a good soul, who you can be friends with, who you can look forward to wake up to. She has it all, but a look of the model. And we are not promoting that look as a being sexy look or a being acceptable look. Even you
Right.
know that in Korea, they are now the highest debt, personal debt, is for plastic surgery. It's you can use it as a part of the getting a job. It's a kind of like a business tax write-off, plastic surgery, because you cannot get a job unless you look pleasing
Right.
their way.
Right. And that's to a serious extreme, right? Like that's to a very serious extreme. And I don't think that we're there. I think we're going there. I think we're heading there. But a lot of people I'm seeing in comments, they're talking about children, right? And we do teach children that, right? Like when we're growing up, I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of a little girl and I'm watching mom. I want to be mom, right? And if mom has on high heels and mom is putting on makeup and mom is, on a special occasion getting dressed up, or every single day she's putting on makeup to go to work, then to me, being a woman is about being mom, right? Because the little boy, being a man is about being dad, right? My father was very capable. He was always fixing things. He was always working around. And so I do those things. So I think it's not just advertising in society, but we break kids. We break kids because when we're indoctrinated and we buy into this, I go to work, I have to look to the nines, and I think to a degree we are like, I guess, Japan in that way, that attractive people get hired more. That's just a fact. Attractive people make it through those interviews a little more. And maybe it's getting the job. And then after you have the job, hey, that's it. After you've proven yourself, you start relaxing and you start maybe, I don't want to say wearing makeup's a bad thing. I'm just saying that makeup, there's a psychological thing about makeup. Like guys don't put on makeup. So boys grow up and
Unless you are
don't put,
Thai.
right. Well, yeah, and it's good. I mean, if you want to do those things, right, you can do those things. But what I'm saying is like the mind of a child, whatever your parents do, you're adopting as this is normal, right? And we don't think about the psychological effects. Like I have friends who are women, they don't wear a drop of makeup. They wouldn't go anywhere near it. Half the time, some don't want to comb their hair. Half of the time, they don't care. And it's just like, listen, this is me, the world, y'all, you're gonna accept me for exactly how I am. And I think that's good too. But I think that, I mean, it's such a difficult thing to process.
So there
Um,
is a story.
mhm.
There was this little girl, poor little girl in Tennessee, I think, or somewhere like that, walking on the street with her mom. They were both very poor, not much money. And there is this woman, big hair, big lipstick, big long pink nail, boobies, everything. And the little girl and the mama pushed her head away. Don't look at her, she's trash. And the little girl said, when I grew up, I want to look like trash, mama. Dolly Parton.
Ooh, Dolly Parton with no trash. No
Dolly
trash.
Parton. And she said, it takes a lot of money to look this cheap. And she says she owns it with all of her power. She's like, when something starts sagging, dragging, and begging, whatever, I nip it and tuck it and suck it, and I'm good. So the way she owns it. So yeah, of course she's wealthy now and she's famous and she's in the whole system of entertainment, right? It's a whole different story. But she didn't learn from her mom. I still think there is that DNA aspect, like peacocks have.
Right.
Like I can see my dog. He behaves differently in front of female dogs than in front of male dogs. He's showing off the masculinity with the male dogs, like I don't care,
Right.
and kind of like trying to get something with female dogs. And I see with children, children flirt. Children flirt.
Right.
Nobody
But
taught them.
right. So there is something, I mean, evolutionary, right? I mean, there is something that, we do use musk and we use visual things to attract mates. Women being attracted to the bigger man, the stronger man, the man that can defend her, and these things that are handed down, I guess, cellular memory and epigenetics and generalization or transgenerational things that are handed down. I get that. Um, but there are a lot of other things that are beyond that. Like, okay, here's a question. I've had girlfriends who've been unattractive.
Mhm.
And I think if I can think about why, it was really they use something to pull me in, right? There are people, there are women that you're attracted to because they put that thing forward. There are guys you're attracted to because they put that forward. But then there are other people who the stereotypical, you bump into each other and you drop your books. And you're like, oh, okay, oh, what you in this class too? I'm in this class too. You want to help study and study and did it and you study, blah, blah, blah. And then you start to fall in love with her mind, or you start to fall in love with his mind. And to be honest with you, a lot of those marriages make it a long time. Um, I'll give another example. I remember I had a girlfriend and she was very, very attractive. But after we were together, she toned it down. And what she told me was that she didn't want, she would wear all of this and dress this way and put her hair down to attract, to get attention. That's the word, to get attention. But when she's in a relationship, she doesn't want the attention, right? I trapped him. I got who I want, necessarily. And then there are people who are in the relationship, and I don't know, maybe they just they do a lot of makeup and work or whatever because it makes them feel good, and I think that's okay too, But I don't know. There's an awful lot of unpacking that we have to do as a species in our society. And there's a lot of things that are handed down through DNA that are very monkey brainish, very reptile brainish. And I think all we can kind of do is nudge the next generation in the right direction. Like I think we're not gonna undo thousands of years of all of this attraction in one generation. I think this is one area in society I think we're making progress in. I think we are more accepting now of you being you, whatever that is, and we also pay more attention to what our kids are adopting from us. I think we are going in the right direction, but from my perspective, on this topic, I think women care way too much about aging. I think that television tells women that men care a lot more than what we actually do. That's what I think.
So tell us the truth. Now, let's say you are 44-year-old man and there is a 34-year-old woman who still has nice little perky boobies and a bright little face and a nice little figure. And there is a 54-year-old woman. So one is 10 years younger than you and one is 10 years older. The 54 already had two children. She delivered them, she breastfed them, she chosen her tummy, chosen her breasts, chosen her face. What is for a man like you the observation point. All your ladies who are watching, pay attention to.
There's there's it's really hard to do a comparison. It's really hard to do a comparison because everybody is so different, right? Everybody is so, when you meet them, there's different interactions you have. There are different things that you want. You're pulled in differently because let's say the woman is 54 and she eats organic. She's raw, vegan, and she's trying to live right. She's okay living in a yurt or a cob house. Yeah, and she's not the looker, got some saggy this and that wrinkle here and that, whatever. But she has great conversation, right? Like you can just sit, you know how like you have a conversation, you can talk for hours with somebody. That is very hard to compete with. That is extreme. You nail all those things, and the 34, she's eating all the meat, stuffing it in her face, but she's got the abadabbas and it's for me, I think there's so many factors, there's so many dynamic factors that I look for. Mostly I don't, and oh, you know, and so and the other thing is gaslit, right? Gaslit is a thing too. Like people who like believe the news and the media and they want to grab me and get me to go out and vote and pick a party and all of this so there's that too. Believe in the media and want me to go. I don't want to say nothing about no George Bush. Go to George Bush and go to somebody. All right, let me stop. There's so many factors. I mean, there are probably 1,000, 100,000 different factors when you meet someone. And the other thing is, I think that people get in trouble when they look. I don't think looking is a good idea. I think you just live your life, and when you're ready, it just happens. It happens when you try to make it happen. When you come up with like, here's my checklist. I need you to be this, all of those things. Most of those things are things given to you by television. Most of those things are given to you by what you know. And we don't know anything, right? You don't know what it's like to be with every type of person on the planet. I think you just live your life, and when the person is right, the time is right, your body's right, your mind is right, your finances are right, your whatever, you got over your ex and whatever, and all of this stuff, and everything's perfect, it just happens. And I don't think we're honest enough with that. I think we try to make things happen, and that's where we really end up in bad situations. So I can't do it. I can't compare it. To me, age isn't the factor. Age is a data point in probably 100,000 data points.
Yeah. I'd like to share my perspective on what you just said about looking for somebody. So, because as a love and dating coach, I work with a lot of single women who are, I'm 37. Oh my God, if I want to have children, my biological clock, I need to find somebody now. And I learned that looking, searching is a powerless energy. But then also the other side, waiting, is just as powerless. Oh, I'm just waiting. The right, if it's meant to be, it will be. Oh, God's hands, blah blah. What I realized is one energy is powerful, which is you don't search, you don't look, you don't go desperate, and you don't go passive. You actually live actively energy of love. A woman who you were describing, your type, she lives in the yurt, whatever. Some other guy would describe that as a woman who has her own business, or a woman who, runs a non-profit organization, or a woman who is excellent at whatever, triathlon, right? But what you all described is vibration towards some kind of passion that she is identified with and it feeds her. And even there are so many people today, more than ever before, when you ask them, what do you like doing? I don't know. Because we don't grow our food anymore, we don't sew our clothes anymore, we don't crochet, we don't, uh, make anything. So we don't know what we like. music and art is kind of looked down upon in schools. They are trimming down the classes. So when a woman, and I do this with every of my clients,
Mhm.
everybody, it just works like magic. I call it gold digging. When you dig for the gold in the heart of people. So instead of waiting for the one, waiting for the one or searching for the one, you are actually loving everyone. You are vibrating the energy of, oh wow, this guy is really funny. Oh wow, he has high values. Oh, he's always on time. He's very generous. You just open your mind and affect your heart to vibrate the energy of love. And when that happens, that's when what you said, it just happens. In the on the extreme of just waiting, so looking like desperate or giving up, it's the still same family of powerlessness. But you transcend those energies and you do love, and you just find, gosh, my life is good. Like, I really like this. Oh, new tree. Oh, I didn't see it. Wow, wow. And you start being fascinated
Mm.
by things, by people, by life itself, by everything. Your energy starts shifting. What do you
Right.
think of that?
I agree. I agree. And it makes sense. I think that when you're looking, you'll never find it. And I think when you're probably passive, that's probably just as
Powerless.
powerless.
Mhm.
When you're, but I guess when I think of that, I think of people who are not happy. Right. I think if you're not living your life, you're not happy. If you're not happy, you can't bring somebody else in. Right. I think you have to be happy, and two happy people in their lives who are living their lives, I think they can build on that happiness, right? It's a bonus.
And they will
But
still have problems.
and they'll still have problems, right?
Life
But
will
I
still happen. Just a second. My battery is low. I need to
okay.
pick up the charger.
All
Okay,
right.
here I Yeah. Yes. So let's talk about how does uh, what we were talking about, the commercials and everything, and our ability to not listen to that propaganda. So what do you think, with watching whatever you know so much about the mind control and everything? I can give you my perspective when I work with my clients, but I'd like to know your perspective as a intellectual thinker. Like I always say, you are my intellectual delight. I just love
Oh,
you so much. Yes, you are just brilliant. So
thank you.
when you look at civilizationally, traditionally, different cultures, you have so much information about many topics. How do you see patriarchal society turning into what we spoke yesterday, patriarchal society in skirts, right? Versus overcoming that and getting really that transformation that is needed. If you look at all this other, when the woman is worth less than a goat, right, in some societies, or you know what I mean, when a child is just used for sexual pleasures and the child is freaking 4 years old, you know. So in all these countries, and all genital mutilation and all of this stuff, to the place of you as a smart man, how do you see the 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 wave of real change? Because they want us afraid. The more we are afraid, the more powerless we are.
Right.
And you don't seem like a man who is afraid.
No, I'm
You're
weird.
more entertained by it all.
I because I watch. I just sit. I sit back. I'm not a part of this planet. I'm wave energy, yo. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I think it's crazy. I think everybody's nuts. I think I'm nuts too. But for the most part, I just observe. I kind of sit back and I observe. And I think in general, we are going in the right direction. I think we're still trapped because the media tells us who to love, how to love, what's pretty, when to love, how many kids to have, what kind of job to have. Like it definitely indoctrinates us and breaks us. Um, but there's definitely a shift and there's an understanding that I've never seen before, and that people are really starting to focus on the fact that we are a patriarchal dominated society, and that gender violence is so whittled throughout. And mind you, that pendulum swings hard both ways, and it swung hard for a little while, and now I think it's kind of swinging back to more moderate, and I see more moderate people embracing that. Um, I do think that we will get there if we don't end the world. I think, we will get to that
But do you think
equality
we will end
place.
the world or we would end us, our own species?
Well, our world, right? We would, we'll end it for the mammals, the fish, the birds, the bees, the monkeys, like all of that's done. That's done. The Earth won't care. The Earth would just be like, okay, all right, see y'all. 100 million years later, and it'll start everything over. It's us that we're destroying, right? So if we do make it, I think we'll get there. But there has to be a true equal footing for everybody. Period. Right? There is no ifs, ands, or buts. And people, they don't like my stance when it comes to, like I said, with race, gender, religion. Any subgroup of human is a problem for me. Like me personally, in my own little world, because I got my own little world, I sing and dance and play in my own little world. In my own little world, gender doesn't really exist. I don't care about it. Like, it's sexuality. I don't see two categories. I don't see three. And now there's 17 and some universities teaching it third. I think it's silly to me. I don't know what you are and I don't care what you are. Right? Like, it's stupid. I know what I am and I know what I like. And that's all that's important to me. What anybody else wants to do is fine. And I don't think we have to categorize human beings. There are people who are born straight and they become gay. There are people who are gay and become straight. We know that the food alters that. It alters DNA. The medicines we take alter that. And so now that we actually have science to help us to understand these things, I think we're really worried about things that just are insignificant. I think the only way we get equality is we stop worrying about those things. You be you, whatever that is. And I love that and I respect that and I'm good with that. So I think we're getting there. But the media is working very, very hard to keep us in those.
So you seem media free in your thinking in many ways. I don't think you are 100%. There is always room for improvement for all of us. But maybe I believe some of your audience, people love your humor and your optimism about it and your observation. So, what is your way that you got fearless and media free?
Um, I'm not fearless. I'm not fearless. I don't like TV. I don't like TV. There's a couple shows I watch, and when I watch them, I watch them and I ignore the commercials. And I never watch it on TV. I watch it on the laptop or something. I'm not fearless. I just don't fear things most people do. Um, a lot of it had to do with probably my religious starts and more spiritual place I am now. My accepting of science and the fact that we are wave energy and what quantum physics is really starting to teach us about ourselves, that we're not here to make money and die. Right? We're not here to compete with others and compete them out of resources and die. We're here to do something decent, to leave something decent. We can't leave anything decent if we spend our whole life in a career trying to make money. So for me, if I have to fear anything, I think that I just fear not doing as much as I can to push the planet in the right direction, right? To push my circle of influence, family, friends, stuff like that, in the right direction. Um, but I don't have like a fear of like my life or anything. Like, you want to,
But you
fear
have
is
freedom.
control.
You have a certain level of freedom media wise. You have a certain level of reclaiming your mind and your truth.
It's aging. The older I get, I mean, that's the topic, right?
Here we
It's
are back at the
aging, right?
beginning.
It is. It's just
Wait, hold on. It's not. It's not. My father is older than you.
but okay, but he's
It's
different than me.
wisdom. It's
He has
wisdom.
he has different experiences. He was raised differently. He's been through different things, and he thinks differently. Everybody's completely. There's 7 billion
Not
different types of.
aging, it's
Mhm.
wising. Is that a word in English?
I make up words every day. It can be a word. I'm good with that.
It's a word. Okay.
It's
Gerardo is
communication.
wising every day.
It's wising. I'm fine with that. All right. So are some people aging but not getting wiser? Yes. And some people might be going backwards. But I'm just saying, for me, the older I get, and I'll be honest with you, most of my friends are 10 years older than me or more. I spend most of my days with old ladies. I love me some old ladies. Old ladies, they tell you everything. I spend a lot of my day with old men, people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And if you're 90 and think I said you're old, at 120, I spend my day with people a lot older than I am. And so the older I get, I find them more interesting. I find the level of thought that they have in their experience more interesting. A lot of the people that I respect most, their kids don't even want to talk to them, right? Their kids don't even visit them in the homes that they live in. I find that these people have experience that's just delicious, delicious, and that's interesting to me. And so as I'm aging, I'm more interested in different things in life than when I was 20s and 30s, and so I mean, that's for me, that's it. And I think their wisdom is changing me. I think your circle of influence has a lot more effect on you than what anybody gives it credit for. You can be watching a lot of TV, and that'll make you into the dummy it's supposed to. Not the dummy, that's the wrong. I'm sorry, that's bad. That'll make you into this indoctrinated thing that is designed to. You will become a consumer of everything, a consumer of what is pretty in woman, what is pretty in man, what cologne I should wear, how my hair should look, what's in style, what's that. And I don't like being controlled. I think the older I get, the less I want anything to control me. And so my circle of influence is just older, wiser people who are going somewhere, I think, to me in life. And to me, that's a good example. Um, I was watching, I think Sister Tina did a live stream today. I think I was watching something that was interesting on television. It was kind of interesting. It was Mars or something, some show I like. It's called Mars. I like to think about space because I'm not here with. I'm in my own little world. And she's never done a live stream before, but she did a live stream, and it was more interesting to watch her. And there were only 5, 6, 7 people there, but it was more interesting to interact with someone than it is to watch something manufactured on television. So I think the older I get, I'm just more interested in intellectual things. I'm more interested in learning than being told what I'm supposed to buy and what I'm supposed to like. It almost is vomit invoking, nausea invoking to watch commercials talk about things that I have no interest in.
I like that.
Did that make any sense?
It reminded me of, I don't know who said that. Some old guy, very old. I don't know who. He said, in my 20s, I worried what would people think of me. In my 40s, I worried about something else, about people. And in my 60s, I realized nobody ever thought of me anyway. They're too busy thinking of themselves. And the gap of missing these years was what I never want to do again. So to grab more wisdom and to go deeper now, because the time actually, it really starts ticking. And we actually have preciousness now versus before. We are waiting for vacation, and we are waiting for new school year to end, and for new year's to start, and we are waiting for whatever, first kiss and a first sex and a first bike and a first car and the first whatever we are waiting for, like we are waiting for life. And then once we realize, okay, you have a car, you have to pay the bills for the car, you have to take care of it, it's not just fun. Anything you have, any possession you have to take care of it. It takes your time. And then there is that moment of just wanting yourself. And that's that wisdom what you're talking about. I don't like to be controlled. That's very powerful. My life, not mine, your life represents I don't like to be controlled. Therefore, I live this way. Therefore, I think this way. This is reclaiming your truth. That's why I said you are my intellectual delight.
I don't think I am, though. I don't think I'm my
I have
intellectual.
every right to choose whoever I want for today.
I don't,
Tomorrow
the,
will be somebody else.
it's funny to me. I just love to learn.
Yeah.
I love to learn about me and about other people. And I think that's how we end a lot of the nonsense that we have in our very, very immature world. We don't know each other. We don't want to know each other. We live in our own little boxes, our own little bigot worlds, and we're apathetic to everybody else. And the more we open up and want to learn about other people, other cultures, other problems, why it keeps people. This is why I say I'm just an observer. Um, the more you can relate to people, and the more it's like democracy, right? I don't want to turn this into a political thing, but democracy is everybody having a say, right? How does everybody have a say if you don't want to know who they are and you don't want to know what they have to say? Right? You've got political parties and their whole basis is not listening to the other side right now. Right. And that's the biggest problem we have. The same problem we have between the Democrats and the Republicans, we have between husband and wife. Right. A marriage is supposed to be a democracy. But sometimes one person's word is much more important and the other person's word doesn't matter. The same relationship problems you have in relationships and marriages, you have in these countries with these people who claim that they like democracy, they love democracy, they're spreading democracy, but they don't listen to each other, they don't listen to their wife, they don't listen to their husband, and when they sure enough invading another country, they don't ask them, hey, would y'all mind if we come over here and set up shop and build some houses and build some bases and drop some bombs, and we're gonna clean up later. Our world is supposed to be a democracy in that way. Right? Everybody is supposed to have a voice. But if you don't understand or you don't care about someone else's voice because your group is more important, whether that be women, men, race, religion, whatever, then this world isn't going to get any better. We're going to stay in the same Cro-Magnon, de-evolved competition, competing against each other. And so the same reason you have all these divorces, you're going to destroy the planet because you're busy fighting each other, trying to be on top.
Mhm. And the pain that I feel the most is how humans or all animals, not all, but we are wired to want to be together, to share, to hold each other when we cry, to wake up next to somebody, to have a coffee with somebody first thing in the morning, to share breakfast, we want to be together, we want to share our lives. And we are so afraid of sharing. We're afraid of being together. or we are too busy. And a lot of that is so made up in the last 50 years.
It is, yeah, we live in a monoculture,
Yeah.
you know. The artificial lives we live, they're not conducive to love at all because everybody's so busy trying to survive.
Yeah. And what we think love is, it's sex. Like there is a song, a line in a song is, we love not wisely, but too well. We learn how to love well. Viagra, toys, sex with robots, whatever tools, magical, whatever toys, but we don't love wisely. And when you said that, uh, the attraction that you feel towards a woman who lives in a earth house or whatever, some kind
A
of,
mud house, mud. I want somebody to live in some mud, grass skirts and mud.
there you go, right? Tropical coconut shells for a bra. Life is good.
There you go. Oh, there you go. Yes, exactly.
You see? So that shows your value peeking through and opening you to that kind of togetherness. And many of us don't even know what kind of togetherness makes us feel safe and comfortable and open. Because they tell us, tall, dark, handsome Italian millionaire, that's the guy to go for until you find him. And all the Cinderella movies. Do you know that Cinderella, if you watch the whole movie, or cartoon, she she was dead. So there is this guy, prince on the white horse, that's super rich. He comes to this corpse, random corpse in the forest. That's what happened. He kisses the random corpse. The random corpse coughs out the poison apple, says, "Oh,"
It's not organic.
and they run to live happily ever after. They didn't say one word.
Seeing how you put it that way, that's a necrophilia love story.
That's what happens. I watched it. I never watched it as a kid because we didn't have that. So one time I was doing some research on myself and this whole, how am I programmed? And I sit to watch Cinderella. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't watch her as a story. I pull myself out of the magic of whatever. I just got very real to what's going on. And she
Right.
was an orphan. And so many Disney stories start with children losing their parents. Lion King is the orphan. What's her name? The one with the seven. The Snow White is an orphan. Um, the whatever you call them, the brother and sister that go to the forest
Uh,
and they move them
yeah,
each to has a candy house.
Hansel and
Hansel and,
Gretel.
yes, their parents kick them out of the house. So what is it in that programming of the mind that wants to scare the little child so that it's the essential soulness of your being in your family unity is so broken that you will be a random corpse that some random dude will kiss, cough your fucking, sorry my English, cough your apple, and then live happily ever after. And we buy that. And we encourage our children to watch that.
That is real.
You see? And we live in that world. And then there are people like you who, I just hear your power. When you have your, this is what my truth is. This is where my heart opens. And if we would all really sit, where does my heart open? What is it? And if we sit long enough with that, instead of trying to, many people, oh, I sat with it and I can never find this in one guy. This guy has the looks I want. This guy has the thinking I want. This guy has a kindness I want. But they're all in many bodies. You didn't sit long enough. keep sitting with that feeling. Who am I? What do I like? What do I enjoy? And I believe we are really afraid of silence. And they don't want us to be silent. Did you notice that brain programming with a 4 second thingy?
Brain programming for 4 seconds.
Like if you watch, commercials are now at 1 second or half a second, but movies are mostly around 4 second. Watch a movie and watch, let's say there is a scene, two people are talking, and the camera will be on the face of one person while this person is talking for 1, 2, 3, maximum 4 seconds, and then you will see the face expression of this other person, or fidgeting with his hands for 1, 2, 3, maximum 4 seconds, and then the other person again, and then a big screen, big image of them in the like in a distance, and then again face. You cannot have stillness that is conversation, that like I'm just looking at you, nothing else I see. They don't have us in movies. There is no more. Sometimes you can see a scene, the camera is behind in a
Right.
back, but there is a lot of drama going on, crazy cars or a war scene or explosions or something.
Right.
But if the camera zooms, it's maximum 4 seconds. It's the train attention. And with commercials, watch any commercial. Camera is either always moving or
Right.
zooming from one thing to another, sometimes even 2 times, 3 times in 1 second. And that's how they can put the subliminal messages and other things. And that's why it's so difficult to actually connect to another human.
Makes sense. And that is scary. That reminds me of what was it? Back in the 80s, they used to cut reels and sell popcorn in drive-in theaters by showing images between frames, right? So you got a movie playing out, and between frames, they're showing you pictures of popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. It makes me wonder is, why are they flipping the scene so much? What are they showing in between? I always suspected that. People who watch a lot of TV are very special sorts, and I've always suspected they hide something in the message. But I think that one's an easy to combat, right? You can easily watch less TV, you can watch less movies, and you can meditate, right? Stillness. Like one thing that I do like to talk about is people, you do need to spend time by yourself. You need to get to know yourself. We're listening to how you describe the movies like that. I mean, we're always running. We're always running. And if we're being, like I think Brother Sean just said, subliminal program, if we're being programmed in these things, or if we're not, our busy is still programming us, right? You wake up in the morning, your alarm clock goes off, jump in the shower, brush your teeth, get the kids ready, make a sandwich, whatever, get on your bus, drive your car, whatever, you get to work, the boss got something for you to do, you do this, you do that, fix that. You might have a minute at lunch, but your friends want to go here, so you go there, but and so you go this whole day running, and you never really sit with yourself to get to know yourself. I think one of the biggest problems we have is people don't ever stop and just say, you know what, do I like my life? I was thinking earlier today about, all these depressed people. I mean, we live in a country where I think it's something around, was it like 60% of the people are on antidepressants? If you live in a nation and 60% of the people are on antidepressants, that's a failed state. Huh?
Full time or just
I
occasionally?
think I think it was a prescription thing. I think it was I don't know that they're actively on them. It was a statistic I saw. So I think that it's something that this is a person that uses antidepressants for whatever reason, whether it's on or off. But it's scary. It's scary that many people don't sit with themselves and get to know themselves. Our monoculture has people running so hard. I mean, we're racehorses. That's really what we are. We're literally in a race, and they get us running every morning, and you run all day. And when we're done, they put us out to pasture. And a lot of people don't ever live their lives. And if you don't know yourself, then how in the world would you know who you want to be with? You know, if you don't know yourself, if you don't love yourself enough to live your own authentic life the way you want to live it on your terms, doing what you want to do, you let television tell you what house to live in, what car to drive, what kind of husband that tall, would you say tall, dark, and tall, dark, and Italian. You know, if you let your entire stay on this planet be for somebody else, be for corporations and banks and societies and GDP or your husband or your wife. Why? I don't even get why are you even here? Like what? But anyway, to your point, people have to spend time with themselves. I notice people jump from relationship to relationship to relate. I get dizzy watching my friends. They go, I have a friend been married 7 times. Seven
So what?
times.
So
Huh?
what? So
Well,
what?
it's not a bad thing because
You
there's
know
nothing
how I
wrong.
look at that?
It's what I'm saying is pause in between. That's all I'm saying. If it
Okay,
pause in between, and if you're jumping from person to person to person, you're
I
not even, huh?
I got that. Yes.
Yeah, you're not even processing or unpacking what failed in the last one to jump in the next one to go fail in the next one. And so, and I think you change. I think every day people change, every relationship people change, every marriage people change, and you need to spend time with yourself to find out who you are in that moment. You know, as you're aging, to get back on topic. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a life and a marriage that's not your own, and it's not anything that's going to make you happy. And I think that's where all the depression is coming from.
Mm. Tell me, do you meditate and how?
Yes, all types of ways, all types of ways. I meditate when I wake up in the morning, just laying in the bed, just thinking. I wake up in the morning and I refuse to check my phone. I refuse to go on Facebook. And sometimes I'll just sit there for an hour, depending on how early I wake up, and I'll just think. There are times when I'll just stop and I'll find a spot, you know, by myself, and I'll meditate. I've meditated on the toilet, Sometimes you meditate on the toilet, but it make your butt hurt after a while. You get some hemorrhoids and stuff. You don't want to do that too often. I meditate anywhere and everywhere. Anytime I need to stop and process something, I'll stop and I'll process it. When people say things to me, I watch lectures. I spend most of my days watching lectures, and when I'm done, you know, I'll stop and I'll meditate. And then there are other times I don't want to meditate on anything, and I'll literally sit in stillness and I'll try to completely empty my mind of everything and see what happens. Do you meditate?
Mm. Remember yesterday I told you my story? Meditation saved my life from the war.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah. It saved my life. Shall I tell a little bit of my story?
I think you should. I think that you know, I know it's getting late and people want to go to sleep. And I certainly want to have you on until I
Next.
mean you it's a serious story. You have a serious history, and I can't believe that there hasn't been the sharing with us yet the things that you've been through. You are probably one of the strongest people I know by far. And I don't think people know your background. There's no question you're stronger than I am. There's no question that I doubt I could deal with the things that you did and at the ages that you did. But yeah, absolutely. Share your take on
Well, next
meditation
time.
and how it saved your life.
Let's keep that
Okay,
that
we'll do that another time.
research
Okay.
for next time. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, I do meditate, and I found that um, sometimes mind is so loud and just wants to think of stupid things. One time I was meditating and my mind was thinking of cabbage. How I'm gonna cook this cabbage? Cabbage, cabbage, cabbage. And in meditation, I took a piece of paper and I wrote cabbage on the paper, and it dumped it from my mind to the paper. It was just so liberating to be free of the cabbage. And then I just shifted that focus on cabbage from emptiness to breath. And I like doing the breath meditation to just Just feel the breathing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I really believe that really saved my life. And I believe this is our way out, through and above all this mess. And I believe this is how we really can change this on a real level, to transform the consciousness, to really make a shift, transformational, not just a change. You want a black or green change, but you want life or misery, that kind of change. Yeah. Next
Right.
time.
Well, the last thing I'll say on meditation, and I'll let you have some last wrap up words, and we'll let people get out of here. I've been looking at, I have a lot of friends that are psychic, right? And I've been looking at a lot at that lately. We have senses that, well, let me say it this way. Um, I don't think it's so much that they're psychic as we are disconnected.
Mm.
A lot of people who are psychic it isn't a thing. It's just senses, right? We have senses that we've lost. We used to not use technology to answer tough questions, right? Like we all have intuition. We all have the ability to feel the things around us, whether it be vibrations or energy. And I think people who we call psychic are just a little more in tune to those senses than what we are. We're in tune with seeing, smelling, and tasting and hearing, because that's doing those things alone. You can be pretty successful in society, you can survive, but there were times prior to this that you needed to have other senses and intuitions. And I think meditation is one of the things that can help you get there, right? The ability to pause and sense, like there's no, you meet someone for the first time, you get an intuition to run. Where does that come from? Right? That's not this crazy gut feeling, and it's hopefully not what you ate for lunch, but it's because you're in tune with something, and a lot of times you really need to trust that you're picking up on something that they're putting off, that's telling you, hey, listen, we need to fight or flight. This is not the place to be. And people don't go with that intuition, they'll go with their indoctrination. Well, this person, they have a lot of money, he's this, he's that, or she's pretty, whatever. And I think that we are very disconnected with what it means to be human on this planet. To be human for what I think is millions of years, let's say 200,000 years, but I think for millions of years, we used our senses more than technology. And that is what being human is. And a lot of what we suffer from now is because we are disconnected with what it means to be human. We don't feel other people. We don't feel ourselves. So I think meditation is extremely important. In fact, the older you get, to keep us on topic, in terms of aging, the more you do want to spend time to yourself, getting to know yourself as you're changing.
Mm.
Any last words, my friend?
Yeah, last words, wisdom of my old grandma. She was wounded in her arm, in the shoulder, in the war, in the Second World War. And for many, many years, maybe 20 years, she had a pus coming out of that hole. She raised two children. She got pregnant with two kids. She washed laundry on her hands. I mean, she did everything back then, right? With arm being like this, so much pain. And I remember as a child, I will put my finger in her hole, in her arm, and my whole finger would disappear. That's how deep the hole was. And then I lived in Tokyo later when she was in her 80s, and I bought for her a little like rollers that she can kind of roll and massage herself. And I think she was 88ish, maybe 87, when she started using that roller. And she says, every morning before I get out of the bed, I tell my prayer. Her prayer was always, thank you for the day. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, lots of gratitude, not asking, but thanking. And then she said, and then I take your roller and I do 1, 2, 3, 10 times here, 10 times here, 10 times 10 here, 10 here. And After about 6 months, imagine she's now 80 something. She could never close her hand, never, because of the muscle and damage on the. After about 6 months of doing that, she could close all the fingers. Before she could close here, and then these other two less and less, a lot of three, like this kind of. And she could close them all. And she told me, she said, if I paid that much attention to my mind that worries so much, if I would just 10 times do something, I would not worry so much. I spend my life worrying. And if I could live my life all over again, and if I can change one thing, I would worry less. She's been to 3 wars. Oh, not two. The first war, her brother, older brother, died in the first war. She was born later. And then her other brother died in a second war. And then her bomb exploded in her house in a Croatian war. But she said, I spend my life worrying. And I said, what would you do? Like, if you could, what practically would you do? She said, I would do this for my mind. I would say, I can do this 10 times. I would say, I believe in that 10 times. I would say, my life is my friend 10 times. I would bless the situation instead of worry what will happen. I would bless and say, it's going to be fine. It's good will happen. And that's when I think how aged body, physically aged body, could change in the late 80s. And she had a brightness to understand that the same healing could be possible for the mind.
Beautiful story, my friend. Beautiful story. And to wrap that all up, we do manifest the things that we say and we believe in and the energy we put out. And to think all of this started because I say I'm old all the time. And so I have to stop saying I'm old because I'm manifesting. Whether I believe it or not, it's not the point. I'm putting off that energy and the vibration. And the same way your grandmother could positively affect her life and reinforce that, whether that's putting off energy, whether it's positive thought, whether it's waves, it doesn't really matter. If you say your life is horrible, your life is going to be horrible. You say that you were young and you're healthy, that's going to be the case. I have to be honest with you and tell you one of the things that I do appreciate about my body. I haven't been sick in over a decade. I haven't had a cough. I haven't had a cold. I once had a headache because I got stung by some bees being stupid. But short of that, I haven't been sick. And I sometimes think about, well, I wonder if it's because I eat mostly organic. Is it because I eat a lot of raw? Is it because I'm a vegetarian? Is it because I stopped taking medicine? And the more and more I think about it, I think it has almost nothing to do with that. I think it's because I studied nutrition for a long time and I believed that if I ate that way and if I lived this way, that my body would become this strong thing and it would heal to a point where I wouldn't need any medicine or doctors and healthcare or nonsense. And I think it's what your grandmother experienced. I think that what did you? What was it? There was something we were having a discussion yesterday, and you put it a certain way. You said that people don't have a choice. That our consciousness and our awareness dictate our choices. And I
So,
think
I said that when we in our division versus unity, when we see that somebody is always, let's say, dating abusive men, and then a friend comes and says, "Why you choose them? You should choose that." Choice is Choice comes from awareness and consciousness. Dating people or repeating negative patterns comes from familiarity with the certain situations, or knowing of certain lack of love or lack of affection, or abuse. That's familiarity. Brain would do familiar things. Consciousness, when we have awareness and consciousness, then we can make a choice. But as long as we are doing familiar things, we don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
Mm-mm.
So I think my awareness and my consciousness that told my body it's strong and it healed my body. I think that's why I don't get sick. And I think that for the same reason, a woman wouldn't leave an abusive situation or look for one, it's because she's not making her choice either. Her choice is being made for her by her surroundings, her awareness, and her consciousness. And a lot of those people came from abusive homes. I think in life, we don't make a lot of our own choices, and we need to focus on going back to being more sovereign creatures, not letting society dictate who you are, what you think, if you're sick, if you need to take drugs, if you need to be with this person or that person. And I think we just have to take our lives back. And I think the older you get, back on topic, aging. As you get older, I think we get broken as kids and we're told who we are. And the older that you get, the more you should want to explore and find out who you are so you can start living your authentic life. That's what I think. All of that because I said I was old, and I say I'm old too much, and I'm going on record now. I will stop saying I'm old so much because I'm not old. I'm young, vibrant, virile.
You don't have to be that old or young. That all the labels, right? You said one, you had one show about don't label me. And I was like, don't label yourself, dude.
I label myself all the time. I
That's
call
also
myself,
like young or old. That's a label.
yeah,
Vibrancy, energy, that vivaciousness, the soulfulness. My grandma told me the last 25 years of her life were the best.
mm,
She was old. I mean, she could barely see at the end.
yeah,
The best years of my life. Why? Because I worried the least.
yeah,
And that take control over your mind, and that labeling is free, and everything is just free of everything, just being that amazing person that I see you are. Other people see us often way much more wonderful than we want to see ourselves. So that's it, my dear.
absolutely.
Vibrant, wonderful, healthy man.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. One, so anyway,
Yeah.
one that's going to take a little break. I can't believe I had a show where we talked about some things, but listen, it was awesome having you on. You have to
Yeah.
come back on. I
I
want to
would love to
share.
come back and play the card game with you because you
Oh,
like
oh,
to die. You
oh,
like to run away about questions about
oh!
you.
I like to run. I run,
Oh,
girl. I
you're
run.
so good
Oh,
at it.
I I'm out.
You are good.
I put myself out here every single day. And so, yeah, some of those questions are a little interesting. I'm not sure. You know what? This is what I promise. This is what I'll do. I will do a show with a panel and have a bunch of people answer those questions,
Okay.
right? And so, but yeah, some of those questions are a little personal.
Well, the other deck,
Right.
we
So
would use the kind of more neutral deck.
yeah, let's start with the neutral deck.
Yeah, I
Let's
will do
start with the
tomorrow with Harsh. Harsh, if you are listening, I have a surprise for you for tomorrow.
yeah. You should surprise. You know what? Surprise the hell out of Harsh. You do me a favor. I want you to pull that deck out. Pull the love deck out. The hard questions.
Oh, now?
No, not for me. No, not for
Oh,
Harsh.
for
Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Harsh?
Yeah, he was here earlier. He was. I don't think he's here any now. He commented down. He said, I want to do the love deck." That's what he said. He wants to do the love deck tomorrow. I think you should do the love deck with Harsh tomorrow,
I will.
and that way I do it with me, and I'm good. Listen. All right. Hey, it was awesome hanging out with you. Appreciate everybody hanging in there. It was a late night conversation. The kids were to sleep. We'll do this more often, but we certainly have to spend a little more time thinking about those gender differences. We got all this conflict stuff that we have going. We have to kind of bring this to an end, and we have to go back to being equals with everybody and stop trying to take control. But I don't think we'll get there if we don't really start to understand how we are all affected from birth by how our societies are driven, by programming us to be a certain way. So anyway, thank you, Helena. Listen, everybody, thanks for joining in. My name is Gerard. I'm out of here. Get some rest. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Good luck with meditation tonight.
Absolutely. I'm going to bed. Good night.